Welcome to the RG DFS Tournament Takes Caution. I'm your host, Chris Kirkwood, here with my boys. I'm going to start off with my man who made probably the most epic call of the season with Tinsley touchdown, and he had the bet slips to prove it. Chris Beermaker, Chris Prince held the call. How you doing? How's recovery going?
I'm good, man. I mean, Tinsley, let's be honest. It took all the way to the end of the game, and T. Higgins gets hurt to give me that last catch, but we'll take it. So, doing well, recovery going well, not doing a whole lot, kind of very stationary. So, a lot of football, a lot of studying. In this slate, we lost a lot of the best games. I mean, you look at the totals, and they're all low. We got a lot of weather concerns, so I'm doing well, man. Appreciate it. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. We're ready to rock it. This week's always weird. I forget what day it is and what slates there are. We had the game yesterday. So looking forward to settle in tomorrow and hopefully banking some of these tournaments that are out there.
Yes, sir. Speaking of banking, we got my man Derek Farnsworth. Noto, how we doing, my man?
Yeah, doing good. Jameis and company really came through for us last week, so that was nice. Another good week over here. And yeah, this is one of those weekends where I love Thanksgiving, but it is a grind from a content perspective, especially now with the Friday game, have to write about. So I'm excited that those games are in the rearview mirror, and I hadn't even checked weather until Beer mentioned it. So now I got to do that.
When I was going over it, I was like, Noto will have that all down.
We'll walk through the weather here. I mean, Cleveland could be nasty. It looks like mostly rain in a lot of spots. I don't think there's nothing overly alarming. Cleveland could get ugly, but we'll mention it as we walk through the games.
Yeah, Cleveland will get ugly for sure. That total is down to 35.5. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to break the Wong teaser rule. I think I'm going to tease up the Cleveland side of that game to make it 10.5 because points are such a premium in that one. First off, cash those tickets. Don Yeezy first in chat. Good to see you, bud. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And let's take a little housekeeping here with Combo Pro. So first of all, this is our Black Friday sale. So sign up with the link in the description for our Black Friday sale. Users will receive the RotoGrinders Combo Pro plan for the price of a single sport for their first 3 months at $74.99 month first 3. After the 3 months, it will renew at the regular price of $119.99 a month. So offer valid through 12/2. So you're getting a nice little chunk of savings there. We also got our 3-day pass promo still. So if you want to try NFL DFS without some of our tools without a full season commitment, limited time, you can get half off a 3-day NFL pass and access everything you need to crush this one slate. You'll get our optimizer tool, a lineup HQ, packed with player projections, ownership projections, and more. You'll get the Sims Lab NFL, which is the easiest way to build smart competitive lineups in just a few clicks. So all that and more for only $9.99. Don't miss your chance to get a serious edge this week. All right, as we were talking, this slate is ugly. We have 10 games. We've got the highest total game being Buffalo -3 at Pitt with a 45.5 total. We then got 3 games with 44.5 point totals, which is the Rams at Carolina, Arizona at Tampa, Houston at Indy. And then we've got 3 games with a 41.5 point total, down to 40.5 the next game, 39.5, and then the one that takes the cake is the San Fran Cleveland and the weather issues at 35.5. So I'll just pull up weather now. Basically, Roth, if we're looking at colors for orange, it's the San Francisco Cleveland, so there's going to be some rain plus potent winds. So models are showing sustained winds around 20 miles per hour, gusts pushing around 35. We know that anything over 15 is really bad for passing. So that is definitely a cause for concern. And, the good chance for rain, too, doesn't help. So it's going to be a slick field. So I'm expecting a lot of Judkins carries, a lot of Christian McCaffrey carries, and we'll go from there. Also is Atlanta, the New York Jets. Looks like there's going to be some rain fairly likely. Winds around 10 to 15 miles per hour with stronger gusts. So not so bad, but more concerned with the rain. And then there's just rain all over the place potentially. We're talking about Miami might get a little bit, but doesn't look too bad. Buffalo Pitt game might get a little bit, doesn't look too bad. And Jacksonville, Tennessee might get a little bit. All right. That being said, big picture overview on the slate, Noto. What stands out to you?
Yeah, it's a slate that doesn't have a ton of value. I'm not loving the way my lineups look on Saturday morning, but yeah, and there's only 2 indoor games. So if you want to get overweight on those, I certainly don't mind it with all the weather concerns. And speaking of Black Friday, man, I miss the days when people would just camp outside of stores for hours and hours. You know, drove by the local Walmart on Thursday night, didn't see anybody out there. Now it's
Ghost town
online. Yeah, I used to go just for fun. I wouldn't even buy anything, just to watch everyone go crazy. It was a great time.
Nope, I've never been, would never go. Like, no chance.
Me too.
People are out of their minds. It's great.
I'll just watch the videos that come out of everyone barging into the store and trampling each other. And
that's what used to be fun. Is we used to see a lot of fights happen and things like. Then they got serious. Like people would actually like shoot each other.
Yeah.
Okay, Don Yeezy was a fellow waiter outside of GameStop.
Yeah, there you go. You got to do what you got to do. All right. Beer, how's the slate looking to you? I know you mentioned weather concerns, ugly games. Anything else that's
yeah, I mean it's ugly. We got weather. The pricing's getting tougher. Like Noto mentioned, we don't have a ton of value. I think there's some for sure. We're missing a lot of the best teams, a lot of the best quarterbacks. So just a very interesting slate. I love it for GPPs. I think there's a lot of ways to get different this week. Guys I think should be owned that aren't owned. We'll talk some of the chalk, whether we like them or not, but just kind of the Thanksgiving hangover. Everyone's just kind of that's what this slate feels like to me. Like
I think it feels like last call at the fantasy bar.
Yeah,
and,
there you go. That's a good call.
You gotta make a choice here. Great on a curve a little bit.
Selections aren't great, but you got to find something. So we'll find you something.
All right, so let's do what we always do, which will be talk about the running backs first. We'll head over to quarterbacks, pair it up stacks with our wide receivers, talk some tight ends, talk some defenses, and then build a lineup for the people. We also got TJ here producing in this background and loves to get in to help us build the lineup, and we appreciate any thoughts that he wants to chime in on the slate as well. So, all right, let's do it. Running back position. We do have we've got one really strong play, I would say, which would be Achane. Just massive workload, gets the Saints at home. Just massive upside for the amount of usage he gets, plus the skill. This is a guy who can break a pass, break a run for 80-yard touchdown at any point. But he is 8,300. We don't have tons of good value, but I think he stands out as the top play. Then under him, there's going to be we can talk CMC. I don't think he's going to get much ownership. I think it's going to be pretty light for typical CMC. You might get anywhere between, I'm showing anywhere all around between 10 to 25%. So it's somewhat significant, but not too bad. But, he's 9,300 and it's the game with the low total. Cleveland's a good defense. So I'll be interested to hear your guys' thoughts on him. Breece Hall looks way too cheap, right? For a matchup against Atlanta. It's just massive usage. Tyrod Taylor should make this offense, I guess, a little more efficient, or has been making it a little more efficient. It's only a 2.5-point underdog at home, so they very well could win this game, and it's probably going to be on the back of Breece Hall if they do. Kenneth Walker's getting a usage bump. Bijan's on the slate. Ashton Jeanty is getting more usage. I don't know. There's a lot of ways to go, but Noto, who'd you write up for your first personnel?
I think it's kind of Achane and then everyone else. Achane's going to be involved no matter the game script. The Dolphins still alive in the playoff hunt in the AFC, which is kind of surprising. They got an easy schedule the rest of the way too, so they could easily, run the table and at least be in the mix for the playoff hunt. They're favorites at home against New Orleans, so I like Achane quite a bit. The Brees Hall chalk scares me a little bit. Anytime he's popular, he tends to struggle. I know it's a good matchup against Atlanta, but he's been held under 10 fantasy points in 5 games already this season. So I'll let other people play him. I think Bijan Robinson's interesting. I like him better than CMC and Jonathan Taylor. In that same Jets-Falcons game, we do have a little bit of weather there. So I think Bijan, coming off of a kind of down game last week, I think he's interesting. He's had a bunch of 30-plus fantasy point games this season. I like Kamani Vidal against the Raiders at home. Amari and Hampton not ready to come back yet. So we should get one more week of Vidal as the RB1 there. I think a lot of people are going to play Kenneth Walker. Really good spot for him. 10.5-point favorites at home against Minnesota. I do worry about Charbonnet, but I think this is a good enough spot where they could probably both get there. And then I'll play some Devin Neal. I know they didn't have any other running backs last week, but he did play on 86% of the snaps after Alvin Kamara went down with his injury. Pretty good matchup against Miami. He's a good pass-catching back. So a 5K on a slate with not a lot of value, I think he's interesting.
Yep. Who are you liking, Beer?
Well, since I've been accused of telling people to not play Devin Achane a few weeks ago, which is inaccurate, by the way, let's put that on the record. I think he's good chalk this week, and he is going to be super highly owned. I mean, he'll be the highest owned player in the slate for good reason, good matchup, just so involved in the passing game there. So there's ways you can get different. I would not be avoiding this one at all. I'm in lockstep with Noto. I worry a little bit about Brees Hall chalk. Davis is still there. Could be a slower kind of slog kind of game there. So not super excited about that one. CMC too. Yeah, he can get there in the passing game, and it's a tough matchup in bad weather. And so I'll probably avoid those two for the most part, but do love Achane. I really like Travis Etienne this week. You never quite know what this split is going to look like, but the certainty has been he's been getting the touches, whether Tutin's been involved or not. He's averaging over 20 touches per game over the last month. So a good spot for him against the Titans. I like Kenneth Walker quite a bit, still way too cheap on DraftKings especially, but even on FanDuel where those touchdowns come into play, they should absolutely roll at home here. So those two guys in the mid-range, I agree on the Devin Neal call. I think he's great value this week. I want to play the Pittsburgh guys, but it's a matter of, who do you play here? Warren, Gainwell, we know Buffalo's a great matchup, so I'll probably be mixing and matching some of those guys in my lineup. I think Kyron Williams, super interesting this week against Carolina. I think the passing game with they should get the attention here. Good spot for Puka and Stafford playing at such a high level. Really like Kyron at low ownership in tournaments. Love the Bijan call. I don't think he's going to see a ton of ownership compared to some of these other guys that we're talking about. I think Ashton Genty, super interesting with his involvement in the passing game, catching a lot of passes there. And I think Jonathan Taylor is in play. Anytime you can get a guy at this level, I know it's Houston. I know they're a good defense, but Buffalo did just put up 143 yards on them. They have given up 9 rushing touchdowns, so they're not impenetrable. I think Jonathan Taylor at low ownership, I know there's not a lot of value, but anytime I can get a guy like that at, say, 5% ownership, sign me up for that.
I'm going to back the JT call. I love him. The reason I love him is, like you said, he's getting more usage now. He's getting the pass worked into the passing game. So that's huge for him because especially with the Raiders always potentially getting blown out or lose trailing for most of the game. So I love him. The price has come down. I'm going to be on the Brees Hall Island alone here. I'm totally fine with him. He's had almost a 15% target share with Tyrod Taylor. He had 75 receiving yards last week. I think he's going to get fed a bunch of carries. The Falcons are a good matchup. So, and it's just the price thing. I do worry. I'm just not in love with the high end. Like I get Bijan, and I called him a couple weeks ago. I just feel like people are going to be forced into playing him this week for the ceiling, and there's still so many things that can go wrong. And Cousins isn't targeting him much, so I just worry with Algier there and that offense in general. But who are any other plays? Should we talk Devin Neal? Anyone interested in him?
Yeah.
We both brought him up.
Yeah, you guys brought him up? Okay.
Yeah.
I was pulling up my stuff. It's tough to navigate both.
I mean, the worry there, obviously, Taysom Hill, is going to vulture a lot of that work. But, 5K, he is a capable pass catcher. It's not a terrible matchup. So I think he's probably the best value we have at the running back position outside of maybe Kenneth Gainwell. So I think he'll see some ownership. I think people will hesitate as well, which may keep it down a little bit lower than it should be.
And I like Judkins against the San Fran offense. I mean, defense. He just looks like a mutter, right? Like somebody's going to get in there and they're just going to pound the rock, feed him. And the San Francisco defense just been not very good.
What about Kieran Williams?
Yeah, I brought him up. I really like him this week.
You didn't hear Beer talk about him?
No, I did. I just make sure you did.
Okay. Good.
No, I did like the JT call. I mean, they've been on the road for a little bit. They were overseas too. Get him back home indoors. Even against Houston, I think he's like 6% ownership, 8% ownership.
Yeah.
That's
And they've given up some games. Daniel Jones isn't healthy. Now you have Tyler Warren dealing with an illness. Like they just may lean on this guy and give him 30 carries.
Yeah. What's his price here?
He's expensive. No doubt about it.
98.
Yeah. That's tough to get to. You're gonna but obviously a guy like Taylor can go off. The matchup's gonna take people off of him for sure in the price. All right. Anyone else that I'm digging around
We
here?
got a Vidal shout out in the chat. I think Noda might have brought him up. He's interesting for sure.
I think that key there is Hampton not playing in. Yeah, so he's cheap. I like him a lot too. He's right up there from in my top 10 for sure.
Anybody bring up James Cook?
Nope,
but probably should against Pitt. 70. I mean, he could certainly go off in this matchup. I don't know.
Yeah, this week's just like, I don't know. This guy could do well.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be sitting here like, he could do well.
Yeah.
I feel you. Anything else, Beer? You usually have some you could get down and dirty with some real low-owned guys that come through.
No, I think Kyron is probably my favorite, kind of off the radar. Again, the Pittsburgh guys are interesting. I think one of them's going to hit. It's a matter of who's going to get there. And then Taylor on the high end. I think we'll all be low on this week.
Don Yeezy wants to know Bam Knight or Michael Carter. I would be a Bam Knight guy, but Bam Knight is questionable, right? Is that
yeah.
Yeah.
It could be an interesting spot for Carter if Bam's out. You can beat this team through the air. That's kind of his best trait. So, but then it's who else are they bringing up? I don't think they're going to rely on one back here. So it's a little thin, but you can beat them through the air.
Yeah, I think I'll be waiting to hear if Bam Knight's out. I think I'll be fine with Michael Carter. I have no idea who they bring up, like you'd say, behind that, but they like him in the passing game anyway, so I figure he should get the carries and catches, so it could be a 3-down back there. All right, let's talk great position this week, quarterbacks. Oh. This is gross. So from an ownership perspective, CJ Stroud is the cash QB this week that everyone's talking about. It's coming back from injury. Tough matchup, but this, if you look at the 4 games before he went down, he scored 25 fantasy points, 14, 28, 18. It's like on this slate, like you would take anything in that range pretty much. So I get it for cash. Maybe he's a tournament fade. I don't know. I like from there guys that I'm liking, and I'm just more GPP thinking. It's like I like Herbert at 6,500. I like Jacoby Brissett at 5,800. People are going to play Tyrod Taylor at 4,300, and you can make some really, I guess you could say, high upside if they actually hit, like with Tyrod Taylor with the Jets off receivers, But we'll talk about that. But and Josh Allen's there, right? And man, he hasn't been as great, but he is coming off just a couple. One, if you throw away last start, tough matchup at Houston where they just play to him, and he's losing weapons left and right. But he had his 47 where he what did he have, 3 rushing touchdowns and 3 passing TDs. So on a slate like this, like he's the guy who can give you true ceiling, and it is more condensed for options. We're probably going to hear names like Josh Palmer, and he's got Gabe Davis back, but it's really we're just looking for who's the number? Shakir is the guy who doesn't have the high ceiling typically, but I just don't have many people. He's coming off a 21-point fantasy point game, so I like Josh Allen. Long story short, but Beer, who are you liking?
Yeah, Allen is interesting. He's clearly the most expensive, the highest ceiling, so he's certainly somebody I want exposure to. He's not really competing with anybody else, and I think ownership here looks super spread out. The two I'm not very comfortable with that seem to be popular are C.J. Stroud. I get it. Also, Trevor Lawrence kind of popping, like he could be popular here. So those two I'm a little uneasy about. Not that you can't play them. I just think there's other ways to go. So you must have been reading my sheet, Kirk, because Herbert's probably my favorite quarterback this week. The worry is ceiling. Can he put up a huge game here? Now, the Raiders, 30 or more points allowed in 3 of their last 5. Their season's pretty much over. Chargers coming off a bye. I think they kind of right the ship here after a couple tough weeks for Herbert. So I really like him. Brissett's price has come up and ownership is coming down. We know Tampa Bay, very vulnerable through the air. We'll see if Marv comes back or not, but we still know who to stack him with. Even as expensive as McBride has gotten, it's still a good spot for him. I think a lot of people are going to go cheap. So there are viable options down here. I think Tyrod, like you mentioned, you put Tyrod, Mitchell, and Mechie, now you pretty much name what you want to put in the rest of your lineup. And those are the guys that are going to get the targets here. Again, it's not going to be a super shootout here. Could be an ugly game. Atlanta could control this game on the ground. So not a ton of ceiling there, but certainly viable at that price. Tyler Shuck against Miami. They're a bottom 10 team against quarterbacks. And I think Cam Ward's in play. It's been a lot of garbage time, but Jacksonville, 3rd most DraftKings points allowed to the quarterback position. Again, a team where you can stack up guys super cheap, depending on even if Manor comes back. He's cheap. DK's cheap. The tight ends are cheap. So that's interesting. And I like the spot for Sam Darnold. It's a good spot. Plus, you get a little revenge narrative. Minnesota, he comes in, he wins 15 games, and they boot him out the door for maybe the worst quarterback of all time in J.J. McCarthy. So he could have a little extra edge in this one here. And if you're worried about the Walker ownership, I think that's a great place to go. JSN is going to be owned, but that stack together may not see a ton of ownership this week. So it's basically Allen, go cheap. The guys in the middle, I don't really love Stroud and Lawrence this week. I prefer Brissett, prefer Darnold. But like every week, ownership not really a concern here, and lots of different ways you can build at this position.
Yeah, I agree. So I just think Herbert has the ceiling in this spot against the Raiders. They're typically like more of a pass funnel. Vidal is like a pass catching back. I think he goes off. So I like that's reasonable. I love Brissett, like I said. Did you mention Matt Stafford at all?
No, I didn't bring him up, but he's another one for sure. And we're getting some questions about Baker in the chat. I don't know that. Kudos to him for getting back. I don't know that he finishes this game. He's not 100% healthy. So right there, you worry about his efficiency. Does he even make it through the game? So he'll be low owned for sure, but just not a spot that I'm looking to go to.
What are you thinking, Noto?
Yeah, so I agree on Brissett. He's had at least 20 fantasy points in every single game this season. Although if Marvin Harrison's back, it does become a little trickier to stack him with. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Beard brought up Cam Ward. He's my favorite value play of the week. I like him better than Tyrod. 70 rushing yards and a touchdown the last 2 games. Good matchup against Jacksonville. Home underdogs tend to perform pretty well when it comes to quarterbacks. So I like him at 4,600. Glad you brought up Stafford. I mean, they're going to try to get this guy the MVP. It's really the only thing missing from his career resume. So I think even if they're playing with the big lead against Carolina, they're going to continue to throw the ball a lot. So the Stafford single stacks, double stacks firmly in play for me. And then, yeah, if you can get up to Allen, I like him, but it's kind of tough to spend $7,500 on a quarterback this week. So I'm probably going to go cheaper. And yeah, my favorite is Cam Ward, which doesn't make me feel great.
Yeah. So we've got Stafford to Devontae is the new tush push.
Yeah.
Wild.
They've been incredible, man.
And like you said, the MVP, and I think they're cognizant of that. And the guy just rips it, slings it. So I like that. So I guess if I'm like looking down my favorites, like I said, I like Herbert. I like Brissett. If I want to go cheap, I'll do some Tyrod. But I'm not counting on that for sure. I like the Darnold call a lot with you guys. I like Stafford. We should mention Tua too as well. 4,900 you compare with Waddle or HN or both. So like those. Any other final thoughts, guys? Should we talk Brosmer?
No.
4K.
Yeah,
I know with some elite weapons that they just can't use because no one.
Yeah, and at Seattle, is there a worse spot this guy could make his debut? So 4K is intriguing, but I do like the Tua call. That could be a way to lower. Achane and Waddle are both going to have some pretty high ownership. So the double stack there is a way to kind of eat away at some of that.
Yep. And I agree totally with Baker. Like I have no confidence he'll make it through this game after watching that the other night. Plus they got blown out. Good matchup, sure, but we'll see. So, all right. Should we move it on over to wide receiver?
Yes, sir.
All right. So ownership perspective, I'm showing JSN to be the highest owned for good reason. He's just the best receiver, the highest upside. Has he ever gotten below 20 fantasy points? He's got one game in week 4 where he went for 13 fantasy points. Only game before low 20 fantasy points. His box score is just ridiculous. He's going to carry Sam Darnold with him. Every week I say the same things to my wife that, JSN is killing me again. JSN is killing me again. I just have to fade JSN up, and then it's JSN touchdown. She's like, why don't you just play JSN? I was like, whoa. Blew my mind. So amazing season he's having. He's electric. Love him. Puka, 9K. It's like the touchdowns are going to Devontae now. Could he explode for a big week? Yes, but probably pass on that. I get it, and then we've got McMillan, who's going to be popular. Puka potentially popular. AD Mitchell. For that tire, and I agree. Like, why do Brosmer where we just 4,300 and take our chance with Tyrod, and get the cheaper receivers? AD Mitchell could absolutely smash for a long one here, and that's all you need is literally one. But there's Shakir, who's in a good spot with everybody. That all his pass catching options, Allen's pass catching options thinning out here. I don't know. Beer, give me your faves.
Gonna kind of break this into segments. So JSN Puka don't take a lot of analysis. I think you want plenty of exposure. JSN chasing 2,000 receiving yards. He's just going to continue to get such a huge workload in that. I mean, the guy broke Seattle's receiving record with DK Metcalf put a big number. We're talking Steve Largent for all the olds out there. I mean that's a big number. So he's just going to continue to crush. So I'm going to have plenty of exposure to him. Puka gets a great matchup here. Carolina, without Horn, without Morag, they're going to be down in the secondary. So whether you double stack is certainly in play. A one-off, Adams eating away at some of that gets a little annoying, but I think it's a great matchup for Puka. So those guys, they're going to have ownership. So I think the Chargers guys are interesting. I really like Ladd McConkey. We mentioned our love for Herbert. Quentin Johnston, super interesting here, and he'll be very low owned. And I know it's been ugly, but I think this team gets back on track, like I mentioned. So I like the Chargers as a whole. You mentioned Ibuka. I think he's fine. The Arizona receivers are very interesting. Michael Wilson not really drawing a ton of ownership here. I think a lot of people are like, is this real? the dude's been legit. I mean, I don't know what they've been doing with him over the last couple of years, but feels like a waste. And hot take, he might be better than Marvin Harrison Jr. So we'll keep an eye on that. If Marv come back, obviously it muddies things a little bit, but if he's out, Wilson's in play, Dortch is in play. The Jets are probably my favorite source of value. I prefer Mitchell over Mechie. I think more will own Mechie based on last week, but that's great value. I think Brian Thomas Jr., super interesting this week, coming back. Yes, there's more competition there with Strange, with Myers, but still a guy with a ton of upside and a fair price. I think Mooney is still in play against the Jets. Actually, we besmirched Frosmer, but I think Justin Jefferson, very intriguing this week, especially if you have anything Seattle. 7,100 on DraftKings, great price on him. I think he's going to get a ton of looks here. So Rosmer may be bad. This may blow up, but Justin Jefferson at 2-3%. I'm going to have some shots in tournaments. I think the Titans guys on the cheap. We mentioned Cam Ward, so we'll see if A.O. Minor comes back. DK has been great. So there is some value here. That there's guys in the mid-range, plenty of wide receivers to play this week. But the main point, JSN Puka, make sure you have a pretty good allotment, especially JSN. Yes, he's going to be 20-25% owned. Should probably be 40% owned. And yes, there may not be a lot of value. He's been that damn good. So, Kirk, I hope we've learned our lesson. We're going to play JSN this week. We're going to cash in on JSN this week. And, plenty of value here at the wide receiver position to make it happen.
Yeah, it's so scary when he's in the late games, and you just need to. All right, just less than 20 fantasy points.
And he usually smashes right away too.
Right away. It's a long touchdown right off the bat. Yep. Yeah, right away. Did anyone mention Higgins?
That one, I'm kind of lower on that whole offense as a whole. I'm not super excited about Stroud. I think Higgins has been great. The role is certainly growing, but I think that's going to be pretty popular this week.
Sauce on Nico. Who do you like, Noto?
Yeah, a lot of the guys you brought up for value, 80 Mitchell over Mechie for me. You guys both seem to agree there. Mitchell, 63% of the air yards the last two games. I know those don't necessarily equate to fantasy points, but I'm going to chase the upside there. I think the matchup's pretty good too. They've been burned by a lot of wide receiver ones this season. So guess who has the number one expected fantasy points per game on the slate for wide receivers? Any guesses?
Jalen Waddle.
80 Mitchell.
Chris Olave.
Yeah.
The dude rarely gets it done, but the usage has been awesome, even with Shuck under center. So I like him. Obviously, Puka and Jason, good plays. I like Waddle against New Orleans. And then, Beer talked about the Tennessee guys. If A.O. Minor ends up being out, I like DK quite a bit at 4.4. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to go. I haven't heard anybody bring up Justin Jefferson, so I like that call, Beer. Can't get any worse than it was with J.J. McCarthy.
Exactly.
So they're going to be trailing. Man, I might have to play some Jefferson.
It's a good price. I mean, 7,100 is that's tournaments only. There are many more cash game plays, but last I looked, he was 2 or 3% owned.
Can we talk about Alec Pierce at all?
No, we should. I mean, he's 4,800 on a week when we need targets desperately.
It's a brutal matchup, but he's going to see 3 or 4 shots downfield.
And again, Warren popped up right before the show dealing with an illness. So he's listed questionable. That can be more targets for all of those guys. It's always a fun guessing game. Is it a Pittman week? Is it Pierce? Is it Downs? I think taking shots there makes sense.
I'm definitely going to have Higgins. I definitely like him probably a little more than you guys or the field does. Who are we pairing with Herbert? McConkey, Quentin Johnson? I know you mentioned.
I think Ladd is safer, like in a cash game form, even in tournaments. I think Quentin Johnston's the dart in tournaments.
Yeah, I like that.
And Gadsden, who we'll get to, is going to be super highly owned this week.
Yeah. All right. Anyone else, Noto?
I think that's it. Kind of agree on Higgins. I don't know. It doesn't feel like good chalk to me. And yeah, we'll keep an eye on Marvin Harrison. If he's out, go right back to Michael Wilson.
All right. So moving on over to tight end, leading the way, as Beer was saying, Gadsden, 4,300. Guy's been a beast. Back this week. Good matchup against the Raiders. Like that, there's Kyle Pitts, 4K, who's going to get some ownership. There's Brock Bowers with Michael Mayer now out this week. And a price tag that looks pretty appealing, right? 5,800 for what we know this guy can do. Hasn't been great this season, but did have that one absolutely nuclear game back in week 9, I think it was. So like that, Brenton Strange in play, AJ Barner is in play. Tyler Warren I would like in this game, but now we have to worry whether he's even going to play. The illness, I think he probably does. I think when they have an illness, they usually tend to suit up, but it is a little bit concerning. They put him on the injury report there, but and if you want to go real cheap, just the guy is just scoring a touchdown for 3 straight weeks in a row for 2,800. Colby Parkinson, why not, right? But who do you like, Noto?
Yeah, I don't love a lot of tight end. I'll play some McBride, even if Harrison's back. The dude's just been awesome since Jacoby Brissett has taken over. And, I mean, he's 7,800, so he's going to be a lot lower on than he has been the last few weeks. But he's been producing better than almost every wide receiver in the NFL, too. And they're priced up to, 9,500 plus. So I don't mind going back to McBride. Good pass funnel matchup there against Tampa. I like Bowers without Mayer. For cheap, I don't mind going to Gunnar Helm for the Tennessee Titans. It looks like Chig's probably going to be out, so 2,600 for him seems like a pretty good play. And then I like my favorite Texans guy is going to be Dalton Schultz. For whatever reason, he becomes popular like twice a year, and then he never plays well, and then nobody wants to play him again. So he was chalk last week, didn't end up playing well. I think it's a good bounce back spot. Indy's one of the worst teams in the NFL against tight ends this season.
Beer, what are you thinking?
I actually like tight end quite a bit this week. And I do like Gadsden. I don't like 25, 30% ownership in tournaments. So Noto brought up McBride. We keep saying it. I don't care what he costs. I don't care what the ownership is. Well, the cost has come up. The ownership is going to come way down. So going to continue to cram him in the lineups. Tyler Warren will keep an eye on that injury situation, dealing with that illness, but really like him. Gunnar Helm was in the 6-pack this week, so I love the value for him at tight end. I think Harold Fannin, interesting. Nobody's going to want to touch that game outside of McCaffrey. And yes, it's Shador. Yes, it's ugly. They're going to need to get the ball out quickly. And who do they do that with? It's Harold Fannin. They give him screens. They're very creative with how they get him the ball. So really like him. Noto brought up Olave. He is questionable. I don't know if we've got any clarity there. So even if he's in or out, I think Juwan Johnson in a great spot here against Miami. 4th most DraftKings points allowed to this position. Taysom Hill is interesting. He's going to get some work, so probably more of a FanDuel play. Hope he finds the end zone. Darren Waller could be a nice low-owned play if he returns. We don't have clarity there. And I have some worries about like Kyle Pitts. If I never played Kyle Pitts again, I'd be perfectly happy. So worry about him. Worry a little bit about Bowers. Derwin James, really good against shutting down tight ends. So that one makes me a little nervous. So I think there's great plays here at low ownership. Gunnar Helm for value. Warren, if he's in. Fannin, low owned value. Juwan and McBride is not going to have a lot of ownership. So I really like this position this week.
I feel like TJ's got a low owned guy. Hop in here, TJ.
He's on the Gunnar Helm train.
Yeah, my favorite stack of the week might end up being Cam Ward, DK, and Helm. So I don't know what I can add here.
Hey man, say it proudly. Whoever thought we'd speak those words in 2025?
Like after the Brissett triple stack crushing 2 weeks ago, and then the Jameis stack crushing last week, I don't feel bad about it anymore. I'm just gonna roll out my ugly stacks because they've been doing well.
Roll it.
All right. Speaking of ugly, we've got defenses to talk about here. So we've got leading the way from an ownership perspective. It looks like, I mean, they're all pretty close together this week.
Yeah.
I think that the some of the popular ones are going to be Seattle, if you can get it. Again, on the high end. On the low end, who's the cheapies? It's going to be the Titans or the Jets.
Titans are always in play.
You could go 49ers against Cleveland. You could go Cleveland against the 49ers. Dolphins against the Saints.
That'll be popular with Achane. I think their ownership will go higher.
A little correlation there. Noto, chime in here whenever you want.
Yeah, I like the Seahawks if you're spending, or the Chargers. I mean, Geno's been taking a ton of sacks lately. So those two, if you're spending, and then for cheap, you guys mentioned it. I like the Titans or Jets. The Browns one's interesting. I mean, they've got one of the best defenses in the NFL. If they could somehow build a lead and force San Fran to air it out a little bit in that bad weather game, I think that could be interesting.
Purdy was awful last week, and he needs good weather supposedly. I guess he struggled. I can't remember where I read it, but I guess he's struggled in all bad weather games.
Is he a small hands guy?
Small, tiny hands. You know the deal. Cold weather. We're looking for big, girthy hands. Is what we It's a couple of mitts. And Purdy doesn't have them. All right. Should we build?
Oh, I got a wrap on defense here.
Okay.
Spends, I think Seattle's your top spend. Not really a ton of explanation. They've been a very high-scoring defense. Now you get Brosmer in there on the road for a start. That, to me, is an easy pay-up. Jacksonville is interesting to me. As much as we like Cam Ward, things can go the other way, and he's been very giving to defenses. So I think those two will be popular. I don't understand why Cleveland is not getting more ownership here. I get it's probably going to be a lot of running, but Myles Garrett has been a damn wrecking ball. We saw the turnovers from Purdy last week. Ugly weather. I absolutely love Cleveland this week at no ownership. So they're not going to be owned. I think flipping the Dolphins and going to the Saints defense against Tua in that offense is interesting. Arizona against a potentially banged up Baker Mayfield may lead to Teddy Bridgewater. And I really like the Rams, another defense that's been scoring a ton against this Carolina team at 1-2% owned. So there's a lot of opportunity here at defense. But the Rams and Cleveland really stood out. If you're looking for low-owned defenses with upside, they are the ones. And then Seattle, if I'm spending.
I think I'm just playing the Titans at home against Jacksonville, 2,200. It's my how low can you go? That's the way I'm doing it. All right, let's build a lineup here for the people. If it was me, I would say I would like to start with Herbert. But
I think we run with TJ's stack and start with that.
I knew that's where we were going to go. So
because I'm on board with them. I like all of those guys, and we can get whatever the hell we want from there.
All right.
Because this opens you up to Achane. We're not worried about ownership now. This Tennessee stack is not going to be owned.
All right.
And then it's who do you want out of JSN and Puka?
So it's Helm and DK?
Yep. Kirk, your wife spoke to us here that we have to play
JSN.
JSN.
We got to throw him in.
And I'll stop from there since I'm hogging all the picks here.
No, it's Noto's turn to shape.
Let's go Kamani Vidal and Chargers D.
And what do we have? A bunch of money?
54.50.
How much we have left? I can barely see. I have on.
What about add an eye and then see what we have left?
7,100 left. 7,300 left.
Position.
Justin Jefferson in there. Want to get wild?
So we can afford anybody.
73 for that last flex spot. Or you can
Jefferson,
downgrade.
I prefer more with like if you're got a Seattle stack or some Walker.
Jefferson or potentially there's some salary.
I do like ETN.
ETN
is the beast of the week. So
I like Judkins and Cleveland D, but
I don't mind that.
Then get rid of Adonai Mitchell or what?
Yeah,
ETN makes sense.
What can we get up to? How much do we have to get up off of?
If you go
AD?
Browns defense with Judkins instead of Etienne, you have. Oh, I don't have him in my pool. Hold on.
But why would we not play ETN with a Tennessee passing stack?
That's kind of what I was thinking too. But
yeah, all right, let's do that. Let's do that. We can do that.
We can leave Judd. I mean, I'd say Judkins over.
Still leave the Browns D there too. Then it's 5,400 for a last receiver.
So and you could do Judkins over Verdell, and then
see where we're at.
Then there's none of Noto's picks left.
No, he fills in the last one right here,
and he gets this pick. And he
I
likes
guess
that
Ward
stack.
DK Helm was also Noto's pick.
Yeah, that's true.
I said that before I did.
I was the only one who wasn't on board.
That would leave you 4,900 for your last receiver position. Guy like Quentin Johnston,
Alec
Pierce, Trey Tucker.
Yep.
There you go.
All right. Want to read it for the audio people?
We got Cam Ward, Devon Achane, Quentin Judkins, Travis Etienne, Shamir DK, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, Gunnar Helm. Browns defense with your choice of Alec Pierce, Quentin Johnston, or who was the other one somebody said? Trey Tucker.
Yes.
I like it.
All right.
Did somebody throw that in a tournament?
I can't out of principle.
I'll throw it in the millie. We'll split it if it wins.
We'll chop it. We'll chop it up, and then we'll do it. We'll run a free roll for chat too on top of it.
I got 30 tickets in the Millie Maker this week, and I'm gonna do probably 5 of them will be Cam Ward.
Let's go. Might as well do 30. You know.
Tempting.
All right. Let's call it a wrap. Any final words for the people, gentlemen? No.
Go ahead, Noto. I'm trying to enter this lineup for us.
Yeah, thanks for watching as always. And week 13, lucky number 13. So let's have a good week. Cam Ward week, and good luck, everybody.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate again. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Appreciate you joining us here. Let's go win something. So appreciate everybody for tuning in.
Yep. Thank you, chat. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, fellas. Get better, quicker, beer. And next week I'll be squatting around my chair. It's the big colonoscopy appointment is going down on Friday. And then we get the show Saturday. So be sure to update you guys on all
Friday. Worry more about
Thursday drinking.
That's a disaster. So good luck to you.
All right. This has been the RG DFS Tournament Takes podcast, week 13 edition. We'll catch you back next week. Thanks.